Just after 12 o'clock, and I want to go ahead and get started. We generally give folks a few minutes to join us. You know, it's right around the lunch hour for some people, so we're glad you're able to make time to join us today. I'd like to introduce myself and then also introduce some of my my friends who are joining me today for this conversation. I want to thank all of you guys. I'm going to spend some time going through how to use this platform. Shindig is an interactive live webinar platform. We love it. We hope you like it too. So I'm going to run through the how-tos, how to Shindig. So first, let me introduce myself. Bojo, Kwe Badasam Se Ndijnakas, Pokagan Padawadmi, Minwa Odawa Ndao, Minwa Polish. Mashike and Dodem, Kalamazoo, Michigan, Nadonjaba, Minwa, Hungry Valley, Reno, Nevada, Nadida. Hi, my name is Teresa Melendez. My Anishinaabe name is Woman Walking Forward. I'm originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I was born and raised in Southwest Michigan. I'm a Great Lakes girl, but I now live in the Sierras in Nevada. So I live just outside Reno, Nevada on the Hungry Valley Indian Reservation. So happy to spend some time with you today. Today's conversation is about FAFSA because it's incredibly important. And so we're hoping to build some excitement and share some information about what FAFSA is, why it's important, and then also, you know, address some of the commonly asked questions, things that every student needs to know. So in addition to sharing information about FAFSA, we're taking it a step further. So we're lucky in that we have the opportunity to work with all these amazing student leaders from around the country. And several of those leaders work with us in our ambassador program. If you'd like to learn more about our ambassador program, I'm sure we have information online. Alex, is there a link you can send me or maybe send it as a question I can publish if anybody would like to learn more about the ambassador program? That'd be cool. So one of our ambassadors is joining us today, Taylor Keplin. So Taylor's going to share some information from a financial planner's perspective about how is FAFSA relevant to a student's life and experience and their financial future. And so we're going to do more than talk FAFSA, but we're going to start with FAFSA. Before we hop into FAFSA, though, I just want to tell you a little bit about the American Indian College Fund. So my title, I work with the Native Pathways to College program. It's a college prep, college success program. We work with Native students attending reservation-based high schools, and a lot of our students attend tribal colleges, but also mainstream institutions. So we're honored to be able to support students at, you know, throughout their phase of post-secondary education and in preparation for the career after college. So my title with the Pathways program, I'm the College Success Coordinator. I work with students, Native students who are currently in college, whether it be a tribal college or a university, and help provide tips and advice to help maneuver the institutions of higher education. And yay, Alex, thank you. So it looks like we've got, here's some information. I mentioned the ambassador program, and I asked my awesome colleague to pull up the website. Here we go. So Alex just sent me, this is the information about the ambassador program. If anybody would like to look into it a little bit further and maybe apply. Application opens January 1, and there's the web address. And if anybody has questions, you can get a hold of Alex Darling directly. Alex is also on the line on the Shindig with us. And so if you hover over the thumbnails of all the participants who are registered, if you see Alexandra Darling, Alex is in charge of the ambassador program. Great. So a little bit more about the College Fund. So the American Indian College Fund, we're a Native nonprofit out of Denver, Colorado, experiencing plenty of snow right now. It's a beautiful winter wonderland there today. But the American Indian College Fund, when people hear the College Fund, the first thing that usually pops to mind are scholarships. So we're known as a scholarship provider. We're the largest provider of scholarships for Native students, Native American students in the United States. So anybody on this webinar who is currently attending college, is thinking about attending college, has family or friends who are attending college, and are of Native ancestry, well then tell them to be sure to apply for the Full Circle Scholarship. Our application opens January 1. So one of the cool things about the College Fund, in addition that we have an awesome scholarship program, we've got a robust student success department with lots of programs. This is just one of our programs. But at our core, our work is designed to help support Native students and in that process of college prep, college success, and career readiness. And so our simple mission is to help increase the number of Native American college graduates, which I love that. I think it's amazing. And so my team and I, well, the whole College Fund, we work really hard to achieve that aim, and we're glad that you're joining us today to be a part of the conversation, and thank you for the work that you do to support Native students. So that's a little about who we are, the College Fund. Want to quick introduce you to the Native Pathways team. Some of my colleagues are on this shindig right now. So with the Native Pathways team, we're a college prep, college success program. We're a grant fund program. And my colleagues who help support high school students, reservation-based high school students, that would be Jackie Demko and Shonday Randall. Shonday has an extensive career working in financial aid. So she is our guest speaker today that's going to share information about FAFSA. So you're gonna meet Shonday in a few minutes. And then you can see me, a picture of me in the top right corner. And I'm the college success coordinator. And then our colleague Leah, she is our transfer program coordinator. If you'd like to learn more about the Native Pathways program, you can find more information on our website, collegefund.org. Click on students, and then you can click on Native Pathways. We've got a lot of awesome things there on our website. Cool. So I wanted to, before I hop in the presenters, I want to give everybody a quick tutorial on how to use the Shindig platform. I'm seeing people hopping on. Welcome. So a few things you need to know. This platform is called Shindig. To have the most optimal experience, you want to make sure that you logged on using Chrome, not Internet Explorer. We have Shindig doesn't operate well with Explorer, so you want to make sure you're logged on with Chrome. You also want to turn on your audio and your video. Unless I've brought you to the podium, like you can see me now, I'm on the podium. That's the only time that your audio and video are broadcasted. So everybody, I can see that we have 10 participants on right now, and nobody can hear or see you. So if you want to be brought to the podium, if you'd like to be included in the live video chat, then all you have to do is raise your hand. You should see a raised hand icon. It's on the white bar at the bottom of your screen. So just to practice, I'm not going to bring you up right now, but I want to make sure everybody knows how to use the tools. So please identify the raised hand icon and go ahead and click that icon. And I should see, yep, there we go. Little hands are raising. Good job. Looks like you're finding them. Just a couple more people. Everybody raise your hands. Great. And so I would like to show you how we're able to bring you up as part of the video chat. So you can click on the raise hand icon again to take your hand down. But if you wouldn't mind being brought up to the screen, go ahead and leave your raised hand up. And I will use you as an example. Okay, everybody's hand went down. Is there one brave soul who would like to demonstrate? Or maybe Taylor, would you mind if I bring you up to the screen as an example how to use the raise hand icon?
Hello.
So Taylor is one of our esteemed guests today. So Taylor raised her hand. And so when somebody raises their hand that says that tells me that you have something you want to add to the conversation or maybe a question. And so I'm able to bring you up to the podium so we can engage in further dialogue. This platform makes for a really robust and engaging and interactive conversation, which I love. It's so much more exciting than a traditional webinar. So Taylor, thank you for being my guinea pig.
No problem.
Icon works. I'm going to bring you back down, but I'm going to bring you up in a minute once we talk about the presenters, introduce presenters. Thank you. All right, so that's the raise hand icon. Another icon I want to familiarize you with is the question feature. Again, it's on the white bar at the bottom of the screen. So this is where you can send a question. Maybe you don't necessarily want to be brought to the podium, but you have a question you want to ask either myself or one of our presenters. Go ahead and identify the question icon, and if you can send me a question you wouldn't mind if I published, you wouldn't mind if I shared with the rest of the group, that'd be awesome. It could be anything. I want to publish at least one. So go ahead and identify the question mark and then shoot me a quick question. Could be about the weather. It could be about anything. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to use the features so that when you have a question, you're comfortable asking a question. And this is for sure an interactive webinar. So whenever you see a Shindig event, one of the College Fund webinars, this will be the platform we're using and you'll know how to use it. So we're going to get a little bit of practice in. All right. Anybody? I've got 10 people on here. Can somebody shoot me a question? Anybody want to take a healthy risk? You will not be brought to the podium. It's just practicing using the features. Thank you. Desiree. Oh, good. Got 2 questions. Okay, so when you shoot in a question, then I can publish it to the screen for everybody to see. There we go. It'll stay up for a few seconds, and then it will be taken back down. 15 seconds. Thank you, Desiree. Here's another example. How's the weather? Cool. Okay, thanks, guys. Billy, I like your question. Here we go. Where did you get your earrings? Good one. I got my earrings at the Reno Sparks Indian Colony Fall Craft Fair last year. Thanks for asking, my favorites. Okay, cool. So let's hop into the conversation. So Sean Day and Taylor, I'd like to bring you up real quick to introduce you to the audience. If you can share an introduction. I'm going to bring you up to the podium right now, Taylor. And
hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Kaplan, and I'm an enrolled member of the 3 affiliated tribes. I currently work for the 3 affiliated tribes mortgage program as a loan officer and also an accountant too for the tribal finance program. Another job that I have that I like to do in my free time is that I'm an elementary and junior high girls basketball coach. Right now, I'm a student with Grand Canyon University. I am currently working towards obtaining my MBA. And one of my main job duties as a loan officer is to help people with financial planning.
Awesome. Thank you, Taylor. And as I mentioned earlier, Taylor is an ambassador of the American Indian College Fund. And so we're really proud of her and the work that she does in her community and the work that she's doing to help encourage Native students to pursue higher education. And, you know, I'm just going to brag on her a little bit also, because look at you're working, you're taking classes, you're involved in leadership opportunities, building your resume. Make sure to put this on your resume. It's like, man, as tribal nations, we have so much wealth in our people and the skills of our people and our up and coming people. Like, this is how we make changes in our community. This is how we uplift our community. So it's awesome to see our young people in these leadership roles really doing awesome things. So shout out. Thanks, Taylor. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to bring Sean Day. I'm going to take you down, Taylor. There we go. All right, Sean Day, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll hop right into your slides, and we can start with that FAFSA conversation.
Hingshe Estongo Maturowe Heights. My name is Sean Day Randall, and I'm an enrolled member of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I belong to the Deer Clan. I come from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. My background in higher education has been mostly in financial aid, where I was a financial aid counselor and an assistant director at Oklahoma State University and Tulsa Community College in Oklahoma. I have also been a program director for the University of Tulsa Law School. I've worked in a variety of capacities, from financial aid to academic advisor, academic counselor, bursar, graduation specialist. I joined American Indian College Fund this past June, and I'm now the Native Pathways Program Officer. But I'm here today to discuss the FAFSA and give you some helpful hints and tips on how to fill that out. And I'm ready whenever you are, Teresa.
Hey there. So Shonda, let's hop into FAFSA. So actually, before we do that, can I see a raise of hands? I just want to see who's in the room so we can tailor our conversation appropriately. So using the raise hand feature, because this is an interactive webinar, and I did get a question asking if the webinar is still going on. Yep, the webinar is scheduled from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I hope you can hear and see it. If not, try logging on using Chrome. Okay, so if I could see a raise of hands, who in the audience is a current college student? Go ahead and use the raise hand icon. I'm not going to bring you to the stage. I just want to count who's in the audience. Looks like 5 of you, 5 of the 6 of the 11 are current college students. Go ahead and take your hands down. And then who on the webinar works in higher education or a tribal ed department, or works in the capacity of supporting students? Two hands. Okay, so most of our participants are students. Fantastic. Good to know. So we know how to tell a conversation for our audience. All right, so Shonda, I'm going to pass this over to you. I'm really looking forward, I'm sure, along with our other participants, to learning more about what FAFSA is and what FAFSA stands for, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Is that correct?
That is correct. Very good.
Awesome. You're so used to acronyms. So I'm excited learning more about FAFSA, why it's important, why we need to know what these acronyms are and how to complete the application, and then maybe how to avoid some of those pitfalls. So, so I'm going to take myself down, and I'm going to pass this podium to you. Thank you.
All right. So for the 2021 FAFSA, you're applying for financial aid for the fall of 2020, the spring term of 2021, and summer 2021. Many states and colleges, as well as your tribal aid offices and some scholarship organizations, use the FAFSA to determine eligibility for non-federal student aid funds that might have early deadlines or limited funding. So one of the best analogies that I use is I usually ask my students if they like to go to concerts and what their favorite band is. And when their favorite band is coming to town, usually you're looking online, you're waiting and anticipating when those tickets are going to go on sale, and you want to be the very first one to be able to log in and purchase your tickets. Well, the same concept goes for your FAFSA application as well as scholarship applications. You want to be the first in line. You want to be there early enough so that if you do need to make corrections, you're allowing yourself ample time to work with your financial aid office. You're allowing yourself enough time to gather the documents that you need. But the sooner that you complete your FAFSA, it's possible the more aid that you could be eligible for. Another helpful hint that I have is definitely apply online. The FAFSA is available at the student aid website. You can go to fafsa.ed.gov, as well as there's even a cool downloadable app for your iPhone. Another really useful tool for the online FAFSA application is using the IRS data retrieval tool. By using this, the data retrieval tool is going to simplify your application process. It'll help reduce any type of errors that you may make by manual entry. And it also lowers your chances of being selected for verification by your financial aid office. So the information is coming directly from the IRS and is uploaded into your current FAFSA application. If you are to fill out your FAFSA currently for the upcoming 2020-2021, the IRS data retrieval tool will be pulling up your most recently filed income taxes from 2018, and utilizing that information to come up with your financial aid information. And let's go to the next slide.
Shante,
Yes.
before we hop to the next slide, so some of the folks on the webinar today may not have completed their own tax return yet. Maybe if they're a dependent. So how would they proceed if they are not filing taxes yet?
If you're not filing taxes yet, you can either use an estimate from previous years, from the last time that you did file. If you wanted to, you could wait until you actually file your upcoming 2019 taxes after the first of the year. Again, I would encourage you to do that as quickly as possible. It may be in combination, especially if you are a dependent student, meaning you are under the age of 24, you're not married, don't have children that you financially care for, and you're not working on a graduate degree. If any of those four things are true, then you are going to be considered a dependent student, and you will need your parents' federal income tax information to complete the FAFSA.
Perfect. That's what I was wondering. So if I was a dependent, or if anybody on the webinar is a dependent, then they need to communicate with their parents, and their parents will have to help them complete their FAFSA application.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the conversation. Thank you. All right. So we're heading to the second screen or second slide, Shante?
Yes, please.
Here we go.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about some, just to avoid some common errors. These are the most commonly made errors according to NASFA, the National Association for Student Financial Aid Administrators. NASFA has calculated that one of the most common errors is leaving blank fields. Now, while there are many of the fields that are required, and they're usually indicated by an asterisk, and it will require you to put an answer into the field. You're better off in being more inclusive with your information than exclusive, so be sure and answer all of the questions. Also, avoid using commas or decimal points in your numeric fields. Using them, most of the time you don't have to. The calculator on the FAFSA application will round up to the nearest dollar. So you don't need to put in any cents, just round up to the nearest dollar. Another common error is listing an incorrect Social Security number or a driver's license number. So be sure and double check, even triple check all of those entries to ensure the accuracy. If your parents do not have a Social Security number, which it is possible, you will want to list it as all zeros. So it will ask for 9 digits, so you'll put in zeros for all of those, but do not make up a number or do not include a taxpayer identification number. This is strictly for the Social Security field. Another common error is failing to use your legal name. So your name has to be listed on your FAFSA as it appears on your Social Security card. So do not enter any nicknames or any other variations of your names. I particularly point this out to women. Oftentimes when we marry and or divorce, we change our names. Sometimes when you marry, you hyphenate your name. Again, it's not what you go by, it is what you are legally considered under the U.S. Department of Education and under the Social Security Administration. So you're going to need to apply using your name exactly as it appears on your Social Security card. Another common error that you'll want to avoid is entering the wrong address. So be sure and enter a home permanent address if you have one. What you will want to avoid is do not enter a temporary campus address. So if you're currently living in the dorms, say as a freshman, but that's not where you reside permanently, that you have a home address in your home state, you're going to want to definitely put down your correct permanent home address. Another common mistake that's made, I just wanted to point out, is regarding your federal income tax paid amount. The income tax paid amount is actually on your income tax forms from 2 years prior. It will not be on your W-2 form. So you will need your actual IRS form to find the income tax paid amount. Similarly, you're going to want to pay special attention when you list your adjusted gross income. your AGI, adjusted gross income, as equal to the total income from working. The AGI and total income from working are not necessarily the same. They can be, but in most cases, the AGI is usually larger than the total income that you make from working. Also, incorrect filing income taxes as head of household. So this is usually a huge surprise to some students if they or even their parents have filed incorrectly as head of household. If there is an error in the head of household filing status, the school is going to need an amended tax return to be filed. So you or your parents, if you do accidentally file incorrectly using head of household filing status, don't be surprised if you're asked to correct and refile your income taxes, and then you would need to submit that information back to your school's financial aid office. Specifically, if you are to file as a head of household, 3 things must be as part of the eligibility. 1, you do have to pay for more than half of the household expenses. 2, you must be considered unmarried for the tax year. And 3rd, you must have a qualifying child or dependent. If you have questions regarding the head of household filing status for your income tax reports, be sure and visit the irs.gov website or call your closest IRS associate. Last but not least, another common error is listing marital status incorrectly. So the Department of Education is interested in knowing what your marital status is on the day that you file and sign your FAFSA application. So if you are in a legally recognized same-sex marriage, you will also need to provide your spouse's information as well, or if this information applies to your parents, you would include both parents' names for the marital status. And let's go to the next screen, please.
Shonda, before we hop to the next screen, I wanted to, you already gave us a lot of information. I wanted to open it up and see if anybody has any questions thus far, because we just gave some really important information on the how to complete FAFSA.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some specific questions. So I want to go ahead and open it up to our participants. If you have any questions over the aspects that Shonda has already mentioned, go ahead and type in those questions, and then we can address those right now. And we have our first question, Shonda.
How long should this take, and what if I need to come back and finish it later? That's a great question. I think it's going to take different students and families a little bit different time on how long it would take them to complete the FAFSA. If you have all of your documentation in hand, which is going to be your income tax information, your driver's license for both you and your parent if you are a dependent student, your driver's license number, your social security number, again for you and your parent if you are a dependent student. I would guess it would probably take you anywhere in the vicinity of about 30 minutes, maybe to an hour, to fully read all of the questions and enter in all of the information. Again, that's just a guesstimate. Some people it's going to take a little bit longer. Some people will take less time than that. You do have the option once you start your FAFSA application to save it, and it will retain the information that you have typed in up to that point. So if you do need to kind of stop where you're at and come back in to revisit and complete the application, it does allow you to do that.
Yeah.
At the very end, if it does require that you are a dependent student, so it's you and your parent, both of you will need to sign that electronically using your FSA ID, and then you will submit it online.
Awesome. And then also, so looks like we don't have any more questions. So Shonda, some folks might be wondering, should I complete the FAFSA? Who should complete a FAFSA application?
The student needs to complete the FAFSA. So any student that is entering into college as a freshman or as a graduate student, you'll need to complete the FAFSA application. Again, although you need your parents' information, I encourage you as the student to fill out your own application so that you will be the most familiar with your information and how to submit it. You're going to be the person working with your financial aid advisor at your college and university. It's great to do this as a family, and it does take a team if you are a dependent student. But I highly recommend that the student is the one that actually drives the bus, so to speak. I want you to be on the keyboard and be the one that knows when you've applied, and you're going to be the one that follows up with your financial aid office.
Okay, so if there's anybody on the webinar that is a senior in high school, then they should be, and they're going to be graduating this spring, and they're going to be taking off to college in the fall, then those students should be completing their FAFSA application now for next fall.
Absolutely.
Yep. Or if anybody's a current college student and has never completed their FAFSA, they need to complete their FAFSA now for spring semester and for next fall for potential funding for next fall, correct?
Exactly. So if you are just now entering school, but you've already have some credit hours, for instance, just like Teresa said, there's a chance that you would be able to do 2 FAFSAs at the same time. You would do them concurrently. So we are in the current 2019-2020 academic year, which is fall of 19, which we're already halfway through already, spring of 20, and summer of 20. So if you are planning on attending school or need financial aid for those particular terms, you're going to be doing the 2019-2020 FAFSA using last year's filed 2018 federal income tax information. The new FAFSA for the upcoming academic year, 2020 and 2021, just opened on October 1st. So even though you have not filed your new 2019 federal income taxes, you can still use 2 years ago, 2018, to go ahead and fill out that second FAFSA.
And every year, well, it recently changed, but the FAFSA application opens on October 1st every year, correct?
Absolutely.
And so everybody on the webinar, you just keep that date in your mind, the back of your mind. You know, when you're as a freshman or a senior in high school, all through undergrad, through graduate school, you always know the FAFSA application opens October 1st, and you need to complete that application as close to October 1st as possible. Because like Shonda mentioned, that funding is depleted over time. So you want to apply and you want to secure all the funds that you're eligible for. So apply early. Shonda, sometimes I've heard folks say, well, I'm not going to complete the FAFSA application because my parents make too much money. I'm a dependent and I know my parents make too much money. So what do you tell those students?
You need to go ahead and put your name in the hat so that you can become a contender. You never know until you try. Many students who thought that their parents made too much money actually were eligible for some type of or form of federal aid. So federal aid can not only come in the form of Pell Grants or any other type of state grant. This is also what allows you to be eligible for student loans if you wanted to take out a student loan. Also, many scholarships require that you have a FAFSA filed and in place to denote if you are a need-based student versus a merit-based student. Some of the other reasons that you would want to file early is because of the state aid that I mentioned. So each state gets to set their own deadline for any type of state type of funding that they might have. I went and looked at all of the states where our tribal colleges and universities are listed, and most commonly the deadlines they coincide with the October 1st opening with the FAFSA. So beginning with that October 1 opening date for the FAFSA, as soon as FAFSA start pulling in, those states are going to start awarding their state aid as soon as possible. And it'll be a first come, first serve scenario. So again, you want to be first in line with your FAFSA and with any type of a scholarship application.
Absolutely.
Another one is just to check with the financial aid office. So they're not going to publish a specific date. Again, another reason why you would definitely want to do this sooner than later. Earlier the better.
And on Monday, I did a Facebook Live with Cody, our scholarship manager. And Another reason that Cody recommended folks complete a FAFSA application, regardless of what your parents' income is that some scholarships require the completion of a FAFSA application. So if you don't think that you're eligible for federal or state funds, you may be eligible for, you may be awarded merit-based scholarships through private organizations or funds like the college fund, and they may require the completion of a FAFSA application. So there's multiple reasons why students and parents need to be aware of what FAFSA is and the many reasons why they should complete the application.
It is common for tribal education departments to require that a FAFSA be on file also for any of your tribal aid. So you
fantastic point.
Have that on file.
Thank you, Shonda. Those are all great points. I don't want to rush you, but I'm going to rush you. I'm sorry. So do you think we can squeeze through the dependency slides in a couple minutes?
We can. I just really wanted to touch base on this. The slides give you the opportunity to see all of the questions that are asked, but the top 4 questions, if you answer yes to any of these questions, then you would be considered an independent student. So the question actually reads, were you born before January 1st, 1997, which is, are you over the age of 24? The second one, as of today, are you married? Are you seeking a graduate degree? And do you have dependents, whether it's a child, a spouse, or others, who will receive more than half of your financial support from you? If the answer is yes to any of those questions, then more than likely you are an independent student and you would not have to have your parents' information included if you answer yes to any of those questions. So the next slide, Teresa, kind of goes into if you were part of a foster care system, if you were an emancipated minor, or if you had legal guardianship rather than parents. So it also kind of guides you on how to answer that, because each of these is going to be, each person that falls under this particular category, each case will be, a very specific instance. But if you answer yes to one or more of these questions, then you are considered independent and you would not have to provide parent income on your FAFSA information. I would also highly recommend, if it is accurate that you are answering yes to one of these questions regarding foster care, emancipated minor, or legal guardianship or homelessness, visit in person with your financial aid office to make sure that you have accurately answered those questions. They may ask for additional documentation. Again, though, if you answered no to all of these questions, including the first slide, then you are dependent and you must provide parents' income on the FAFSA. And then the last slide, as far as dependency goes, is with regard to being on active duty in any of the armed forces. So if you were currently serving on active duty, or if you are a veteran of the armed services, it's possible that you would be considered independent and not have to use parents' information. Also, with regard to all of these questions, it is possible for a student to move from dependent status to independent status and back again. An example would be, say, a 22-year-old student who gets married, and at that time, now they're married, so they don't have to include their parents' income information. They're going to include their spouse's income information. However, if that same student divorces, they're still 22 years old. They're now no longer married anymore. They would have to revert back and use their parents' information.
One of our esteemed American Indian College Fund ambassadors is here to join us today to talk a little bit about next steps after completing your FAFSA. How do you use those funds, hopefully a refund check, to think about your financial health and plan appropriately? So I'm going to pass the podium over to you, Taylor, and go ahead and just the next slide, and I'll move the slide over for you.
Okay. So I first want to say thank you, Teresa, and to the American Indian College Fund for inviting me to speak with you guys all a little bit today. I'm very thankful for the American Indian College Fund and all of the support and understanding that they have towards me as a Native American student. We truly do face some unique experiences that other students don't. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about some financial terms and just some common finance terms that we hear all the time, but we don't necessarily know what they mean. With that, can we change to the next slide? So the first thing I wanted to go over is a few common financial aid terms. One of the biggest ones that Shonday just discussed was FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. It is a free application, and yes, it does take a little bit of time to fill out, but when you do receive, grants or student loans, it helps cover a lot of those costs that we do need for college that we otherwise wouldn't receive. One of the loans that you can get from FAFSA is an unsubsidized loan. This is a loan where interest starts accruing the moment you or your school receive the funds. So as soon as that loan hits your finance account, you're going to start that interest accruing right then and there. The next one is a subsidized loan, which they don't accrue interest until you are done with your school. So you actually get a deferment period, which is very nice. The next one is a grant, which is a need-based financial aid given to college students. Similar to a scholarship, you don't have to pay it back. Next one I wanted to talk about is the difference between a stipend and a refund. A lot of times when we're going to school, if we have excess financial aid or money left over from our scholarships, we receive a refund. A lot of this is usually mailed to us in a form of a check. The next one is a stipend. The stipend is a fixed sum of money to help defray some of your college expenses. So for example, when I was attending the Nuwata Hidatsa Sanish Community College here in Newtown, North Dakota, I received a business stipend every month, and that stipend actually helped me pay for some of my expenses that I had to cover outside of my school. Can we switch to the next slide, please?
Clarify stipend a little bit more. So if somebody's in graduate school, if they're a teaching assistant or a graduate assistant, they're often given a stipend for the work that they do. Maybe it's expected they work 10 to 12 hours a week, and so they're given a stipend of $1,500 a month for the work that they do. So there's a lot of different stipends, but definitely it's important to know this terminology, and thank you for putting that out.
Yes. So just like you were saying with the stipend, for my business stipend that I received when I was going to the community college here, I had to meet certain requirements to get that stipend and keep getting it each month. So one of my requirements was I had to make sure and have certain teachers write recommendations for me, and then I would have to work with those teachers after school hours, so many hours a month to continue getting that stipend.
Yep, you see that in different leadership programs too, where it's like you have to make so much progress in your research or in the project that you're doing, and then you would be given a stipend. So instead of getting like a paycheck, it's kind of like a paycheck.
Yeah.
Stipend, which is very different than a refund check. Thank you. Terminology is really important. It's one of those things, if you aren't prepared and you don't know these terms, you can get hung up and you can find yourself in difficult situations. So thank you for reminding us of those important things, Taylor.
All right. So the next slide I have here is common personal finance terms. Just kind of things we see day to day, but again, not really something we're all educated on and know a whole lot about. I know if you're just scanning through, you look at this stuff and you're just like, okay, whatever, I don't need to know. But it is pretty important to know a couple of these, just like, having credit. Credit is your ability to borrow. So whether it be borrowing money from a bank or borrowing goods from, a company, a rental service, or, requesting services of someone to come out to your house to do something. Having credit means that's your ability to borrow for those services with the promise to repay them at a later date. Now your debit is going to be your increased expense account and or your decreased revenue account. So an example of this would be buying a new computer. It's increasing your expense account because you are expensing money for that, and it's decreasing your bank account. Then the next one I have is interest. So anytime you take out a loan, just like when you're talking about FAFSA and the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, there is interest on those loans. So although on the subsidized, the interest doesn't accrue while you are still in school, once you are done with school, it does begin accruing. So interest is going to be part of the portion of the amount lent due per period. So your rate for that does depend on your principal balance, the frequency of the loan, and the length of time money is lent. The next term I have is your annual percentage rate, which is an annual rate charged for borrowing. You might not see these on your student loans, but you will see these on any type of bank loan you might make or on credit cards. Now, one thing to watch out for is percentages with the annual percentage rate. You want to look for rates that are fixed rather than just percentages, only because a fixed rate is a one-time charge a year, and the percentages, they can vary year to year based on your creditor. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about budgeting. Budgeting is an estimate of income and expenses for a set period of time, and it's very important to know your budget, especially as a college student, because we're usually all on kind of a tight budget as it is. So college is very expensive, and I just wanted to give a few tips on how to budget better and different ways as a college student that you could save some money. Can we go to the next slide, please? So some personal finance tip with using some of your college funds. When you do get a refund, or if you do get a refund or maybe a stipend, a really good tip is to actually pay your car insurance with that money. The only reason I say that is because we can get car insurance from a month-to-month payment, but it's very beneficial to bundle it and pay 6 months at a time. You often get a discount from your car insurance company as well for doing that. So that's something you can get out of the way, and then it's not due for another 6 months, which is usually around the time that you get your next refund or stipend. Another tip I have is buying in bulk. We get refunds and we kind of think, let's go shopping. So one of my tips is go shopping. Buy things that you know and you will need, and things that will last you a while. So some of the things I would suggest is buying laundry soap, toiletries, and even coffee, and buy them for months and months to come. When we go to the store, we often go in for one thing, we come out with 10. I know I do. So I would suggest, just buying maybe 3 or 4 big things of laundry soap, and then you can keep those and it will last you hopefully towards the end of the semester. My next tip is college discounts with your student ID. A lot of places you go and you shop, students with their student ID get discounts. So some of the places that I know of are going to be like clothing stores like H&M or American Eagle. They're very good. They offer a discount for students, and that's going to help you save in the long run. Another tip is take advantage of your school cafeteria. A lot of times our school, we pay for meal plans, and we don't take advantage of those. Instead, we're trying to go out and eat at a restaurant every night and spending, hundreds of dollars when we could be saving just by using our school cafeteria, getting our dinner there. It's already included in our meal plan, so we don't even have to pay anything out of pocket at the time. My next tip is couponing, and finally, memberships. Couponing is a great way to save on things like toothpaste, common food and snacks that you like. And then memberships, a lot of the time when you sign up online for memberships to different places, they offer, first-time discounts, so you might get 10% off. They offer discounts as you continue your membership, and those are great ways for us college students to save on some of our finances and expenses that we have. And then the last thing is tracking your budget. It's really important to know what your expenses are and what your income is, because it can help you avoid overspending. It can help you save money. So some of the things that I use personally for creating and tracking my budget is I like to use Excel, and I also like to use Word. And even once in a while, when I just have something on my mind and I might not have access to a computer right away, I just jot it down on a piece of paper. If you're wondering, what a budget sheet should look like, there's thousands of templates available online for that. And there's also various templates in Word and Excel that are already pre-created, where all you have to do is just enter your information, and it can help you keep track of your spending. And that's all I have for today. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Taylor. So this would be a great time to pick Taylor's brain. So if you have any budgeting questions, go ahead and raise your hand or type those questions now. And I just wanted to bring it all back together. So we know that completing a FAFSA application is critically important. So every student that's currently enrolled in college or is even thinking about college, like I want to go back to graduate school, I don't know how that's going to work in my future. So just in case, every year I complete my FAFSA application on October 1st. And so if the stars align and I'm ready to go back to start a PhD program, I've already got my financial package started. So I'm starting off on the right foot. And so we know that we need to complete a FAFSA application to be eligible for federal and state aid, but also for potential scholarships, merit-based scholarships. And then I love how, Taylor, you incorporated that, we're starting with FAFSA when we're looking at as students, as you're looking at a financial plan. First thing you want to do is complete your FAFSA application so you have access to free money.
Yes.
That's money you don't have to pay back. There's no interest. We're not talking about subsidized, unsubsidized, or private loans, because if we can stay away from loans, we want to stay away from loans. We live in a society now that's burdened with student loans, and we've learned a few things. And so we at the college want to advise our students to apply for scholarships, research scholarships, apply for federal aid. So part of that process is to apply for your FAFSA, apply for the free money first. And then if there's a shortfall, then, if loans are what you need to look at, then loans. So thank you, Taylor. I didn't see any hands raised. So I want to go ahead and thank you for your time. And then if anybody thinks of anything in the next couple of minutes, I want to share some social media and some upcoming events. I'll bring Taylor up if you think of a question between now and then. But until then, thank you, Taylor. We appreciate it today. So while you're on the line, I want to inform folks of a few upcoming events using the same Shindig platform. So next week, we're hosting another Shindig on November 5th at the noon hour, and that's internship applications and interviews. And so our guest presenter for that event will be a gentleman with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and he's going to tell us a little bit about their internship program and things you need to know to apply for that specific internship. But in general, we're going to share some tips of what you need to know as you're searching and hunting for internships and applying an interview. After that, we've got November 15th, how to find scholarships and apply. And December 5th, we have a video on resume writing. These are some of our upcoming educational webinars that are posted on our social media and website. I want to encourage you to check out our website at collegefund.org, but also follow us on social media. So we're everywhere. We're trying to get the information out. So please help us. Comment, share, and like. So you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Native Pathways. And then, Facebook, we also share a lot of information from other sources, so I highly recommend checking that out. Also, if you'd like to get a hold of me, if you have any questions for our presenters, I can relay that information on. Go ahead and hit me up. Here's my contact information. Again, my name is Teresa Melendez, the College Success Coordinator with the Native Pathways to College program. My email, tmelendez@collegefund.org, and my phone number right there. So we're just past 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, so I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your time. I hope the information was valuable. If there's anything else we can do to help you out, come visit us on our website at collegefund.org or visit us on our social media platforms. and we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you, Sean Day, for sharing your expert financial aid advice. Thank you, Taylor, for visiting us from North Dakota and sharing that important advice on financial planning and budgeting. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, guys. Thank you.